Hello, welcome back to the channel. Normal Wide here, and today we are going to continue working on the IS300. So in the last video, got the fuel return installed. I did have a couple of leaks. I did get those fixed. Ended up just being an O-ring in the back or actually all the O-rings, they were all just smoked. I don't know how. Anyway, I got new O-ring kits on all of them, so they are not leaking anymore. I did have a small fuel leak on the top of the fuel hat where I used that rubber O-ring, and I should have actually just used some epoxy, which I went on ahead and just actually used this stuff right here. That stuff. And I let that sit on there for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours, and it's working great. So, and I just put the back seat back in. I took it for a longer test drive yesterday, and everything seems to be doing just fine. In today's video though, what we're going to be doing is pretty much just getting ready to install all of the turbo pieces, the manifold and all that stuff. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to take off pretty much all this on this side, the intake, the throttle body, obviously the headers, the third cat that's underneath the car. Pretty much a lot of disassembly. I don't know if I'm going to replace the engine mounts quite yet. I want to, because this car has almost 200,000 miles on it. But I mean, it sits and it idles really smooth. There's not any issues with it yet. I just kind of want to replace it just because I want to, but I don't know. We'll see when I get there. I do know one of the major hurdles I'm going to have to go through is drilling the oil pan to accept the turbo drain. So there is a provision for it on the stock upper oil pan. However, I don't know, I'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, today I'm just going to get right into just disassembling all this stuff. Made a lot of progress already. Got the intake stuff off, got the throttle body off, disconnected the coolant line from there. There was a ground I had to take off back here. This thing right here just bolted to the side of the head. Trying to get myself as much room as possible. I'm undecided what I'm going to do next though, because I see I got the O2 sensors down there to deal with. I don't know if I can leave them attached to the exhaust manifold and pull it all out as one, or if I should just try to take them off to give me more room, because you know they might get caught up as I assume I can pull this stuff straight up out of the engine bay. I don't know for sure, but see, you got this guy right here and that one down there. I do have the car jacked up, so I might crawl underneath to see if I can get that bottom one. And then as far as the other O2 sensors are concerned, I'm not exactly sure yet, but there's not really much to take off over here. However, I think that this thing is going to give me a run for my money. So I don't know, let's just get right back. Okay, I was able to get bank 1 O2 sensors off. The longer one is the bank 1 sensor 2, so after the cat. The shorter one is bank 1 sensor 1 before the cat. So this is probably going to matter later on for me, because I'm not going to be running a standalone on this car, at least not right away. This car is an automatic, and there's only, I believe, maybe one choice I can go with that I can use some type of standalone or aftermarket ECU to run the turbo. But right now I'm just going to use the stock ECU, so I will have to deal with splicing some of these O2 sensors together later on. But I mean, we're far away from that now. But man, the struggle to get this exhaust manifold off is definitely real. I've had this manifold off before when I did the rear main seal, so I pulled the transmission off and I had to get all the exhaust out of the way, but that was about 3 years ago. The bolts now are so rusted up. I did remember last time when I had it off, I actually had to cut one of the bolts off just to get the exhaust manifold off, so it's looking like I'm gonna have to do the same thing with this one. I don't live in a rusty area at all, but I guess over time, you know, that's just what happens to this stuff. So currently I am pretty close to taking off this exhaust manifold. I think I'm going to end up just cutting it off again, that bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up all of these studs up here and try to pretty much pull the manifold away from the head. That way that'll give me a little bit of space where that flange is at to kind of get my Sawzall blade in there to just cut that bolt off, because I mean, I won't need that bolt. It needs to be replaced anyway, so that's at least what my plan of attack is currently. So I don't know, hopefully it goes well. Well, that was quite the challenge to get this out, but it's now out. I ended up having to cut this last bolt off because it was so rusted on there. So I just cut it off. And this piece too is just really rusted, so yeah, so I got the third cat right there. You probably can't see it because of the light, but it's there. That guy down there. That will actually get removed when I put the down pipe and the B pipe on. So I'll probably take that on. I'll probably take that off of camera. So I think there's only a couple bolts that hold it on. Right now I'm using the jack to hold it up, but got all this extra room for activities now. I was looking at CX Racing's website, and that turbo manifold definitely fits in here really tight. So I do know that while I have this off, there are a few things that I can address. The main thing that we need to get to is that drain right here for the turbo drain, that kind of circle looking thing there with the little tab coming off the side. That's going to have to get drilled and tapped for a turbo drain. And so that means that those transmission cooler lines that are going in front of it are going to have to be rerouted or moved out of the way slightly. So I think they're just held on by like the little 10mm bracket or whatever that's over there. So hopefully that won't be too big of a deal. Obviously, if you have a manual, those won't even be there. So as far as space is concerned, I don't think I'm really worried about anything. Only thing I think I'm concerned about is this heater hose right here, if that's going to be in the way. And I mean, obviously there's all these brake lines right here, but the kit's designed to keep the ABS right here in this location, so hopefully it does just that, because I don't want to have to relocate any of this stuff. That looks like a headache. I know people do it. Actually, I think people move their batteries to the trunk and put the ABS units right there, and obviously that'll clear up a whole bunch of space right here. But I'm trying my best to keep things as simple as possible, and obviously relocating all these brake lines is not simple. I might grab the manifold and see what it looks like on here. I know guys run shorter exhaust studs in order to get the manifold on there easier, but I don't know. I'm hoping I could just leave those how they are, and obviously I'm gonna have to get some new exhaust gaskets. I don't know if the kit comes with some or not, but I'm not gonna run those because they're probably junk. So yeah, let me grab the manifold and stick the manifold on there and see how it fits. Man, doesn't that look good sitting in there? Well, manifold fit really easily actually. I didn't have to move anything. I only have it held up by 2 nuts right here right for now. I just wanted to test fit it to see if it was going to be in the way of anything, and I was actually worried about this heater hose right here. Of course I don't have the turbo on there yet, and the turbo could get in the way of that, but so far it cleared everything pretty easily. And it looks like the turbo is going to sit back far enough to where it's not even going to mess with this ABS at all. I know they did revise this kit in order to place the turbo a little bit farther back. It does get really close to this engine mount right here, so I highly suggest that you wrap this turbo manifold, which I'm going to do. Like I said, I just have it on here for test fitting purposes, and honestly I'm gonna probably leave it on here for now because I need to see where to run the turbo drain at. I'm hoping I don't have to snake it like through these runners here down to the oil feed down there. Hoping I can just kind of like come around and get it down that way, but we'll see when we get there. Looks pretty good though, pretty stoked. So there's plenty of space there. Turbo's gonna sit really close to the frame though, so I don't know. I have the turbo with me, so let me put that on and see how close it is. Got the spoolie boy on there. Of course, you know I'm gonna run the CX Racing turbo. Came with the kit. What's the worst that could happen? Like I said earlier when I first bought this kit, I'm just gonna run this turbo and see how long it lasts. I know a few guys who have these turbos, this exact same turbo and this whole kit on their car. Guy I know had his for about 3 years now. He makes about 350 to the ground and it's doing just fine. Of course some of these just blow up right away, but I'm just gonna run it. And I think the turbo is like a $200 turbo, so if it blows up, I mean it blows up. It's no big deal. So I'm just gonna run this, but man, it does look really good in there. It's just rested on the manifold right now. Nothing is bolted down. And that's not the way that the compressor housing is actually going to be clocked. It's probably going to be flipped around 180, so it's on the bottom. I've been told that that is a very tight squeeze in there, and some guys actually cut off the turbo, the compressor housing here, and like weld it a certain angle, but I don't know. I'll have to cross that road when I get there. But it is looking like it's going to hit this heater hose back here, so that shouldn't be hard to deal with. I probably can just either, I don't know, cut that hose and reroute it to make it a lot shorter, because it does look unnecessarily long for no reason. It's on there though, guys, so I'm pretty stoked for that. So that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. I just wanted to get the exhaust manifold taken off and the intake stuff taken off so that I can actually test fit this manifold to see what is going to be in the way, because the next thing I need to do is to drill and tap the oil pan for the turbo drain, and I honestly wanted to see how I'm going to be able to route the hose and whatnot. I don't know if I'm going to use the hose that came with this kit. I actually pulled it out of storage and tried to look at some of the fittings that come with the kit, and none of that works at all. So I am going to have to order some drain hose, some fittings. I'm probably just going to run some AN line, and I have to get some fittings. I'm probably going to run, it appears that the drain on this takes a -8 or 8 AN line, so I'll probably just be running that for a drain. And then I'll try to adapt that to the stock oil pan location, because the stuff that comes with the kit is it just won't work. So don't even bother trying to use it. You might be able to use the hose, although I don't know what kind of size it is. It's kind of a random size. It could be 10 AN, but I'm not exactly sure. But nonetheless, we got the turbo on, sitting on there. It's looking great. So yeah. Just stay tuned for the build, and I appreciate you guys watching the video so far. So if it's your first time on the channel, I appreciate you stopping by. Do hit the like and subscribe button on the way out, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.